Now, as an extension of the story of Ahab and Jezebel, and I have been looking at the role of women in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Mary Magdalene wasn't treated very well. A woman who lived a life that one can debate, her name was Athaliah. And Athaliah was the daughter of Ahab and Jezebel. And she was sent to Judah from Israel to marry Joam, who was king. And when he died, their son, Uzziah, took over for about a year. But ultimately, Athaliah ended up being in charge of Judah. She was the most powerful woman at the time in the world. She's been the only queen of Judah without a king ever. And she did very well by her people, but the priests at the temple hated her because they hated women. They didn't want to take orders from a woman. And this guy Jehu came through, beheaded 70 of the men of Judah around her, drove another 40 or so into a pit in Jezreel and killed them. She managed to keep a son alive for 7 years in a hidden room in the palace. But in the end, she was hunted down and was killed. Not a lot is known about what she did other than the fact is that she kept the peace for a long time, and she didn't walk evil, and she didn't apparently didn't worship Baal like her mother did. But in the end, as the story goes, the people who write history are the ones who get to decide what was right and what was wrong, and the scribes and the priests and the rabbis at the temple rewrote history and described her as being one of the most evil women to ever walk the earth. Her life has been equated at times to that of Margaret Thatcher of England. And she was vilified at times for being the Iron Lady. She led her country through a questionable war, but in Argentina. But in the end, Athaliah ruled, and that makes her a very significant in the Bible. Even though Athaliah is not an easy pronunciation. And I think that's why her name doesn't trip off the lips like a Jezebel. But she was probably given dealt a bad hand by the historians afterward. But she was a strong woman in the Bible, and it's worth reading her story, Athaliah. There's a lot of great detail. There are a lot of names. There are a lot of locations. And once again, a highlighter is probably something you should use. But here's to probably the strongest woman in the Bible, Athaliah.